Hello, and welcome to The Studio Demands It. You like this?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
An exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands and stipulations from one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
Overlord. No, that's the normal cadence.
I gave up.
Oh.
I just went back. I defaulted.
Gotcha.
I tried something new. I didn't like how it felt coming out of my mouth.
All right. Put that back in there.
Put it there. We talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And as professional screenwriters ourselves and avid cinephiles, we'd like to believe that we could meet any demand thrown at us.
All the time.
We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TCD Witt, and joining me, as always, is Jim Music Man Burzelic. Sing us a song, Burzelic Man. Sing us a song tonight. Come on, you bragged about how you sing.
I didn't brag. It wasn't a brag.
Before we even began,
it was
Jim's
actually
like, I sing all the time.
all the time. It wasn't a brag. It was a worry.
It's
a habit I have. I will just randomly sing things. I sing my own name.
Jim.
Yeah. I did that once, and friends, some coworkers I was with, I didn't even realize, like, I thought it was a thing that people knew that I did, that I just kind of was my own cheerleader, and then I did it, and someone was like, "Oh my God, Jim, what was that?"
Jimbo!
Because what was I said? My name is Jim, and that became the song that everyone sang for the rest of the project.
My name is Jim.
My name is Jim.
I mean, you have a theme song courtesy of, we had filmed a pilot a few years back, and it was
It's the Jim song.
This is a song, and it's a song for Jim. Yeah, this is Jim's song. Yeah, this is Jim's song.
To me, the important thing about that song is that I'm not the one singing it.
Yeah, it's for you. This is a song, and it's a song for Jim. That was like improv by our lead actor.
Yep.
No, I get it. Like, you do. I do acknowledge that there are times that you will sort of like tunelessly sing a thing, like, and I'm just going to my car because I forgot my donuts in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that.
I don't know if you've done it enough. Well, this all came about because
I tend to not do it. It's sort of like it's a thing I do just as I'm mindlessly doing a thing.
Sure.
When I'm with other people, I tend to not be mindlessly doing things.
I appreciate
so I don't do it as much.
I am grateful that you don't do that. I make noises, like I will make like bloops and bleeps and zips and zaps. Like that's my sort of like, it's too quiet.
The wind blows through the room.
Just a wind blowing through my beard.
That I just shake my head to do that.
Your
This is a weird-
your beard blows through the wind.
It does.
And
My beard blows
the
through
answer, my friend, is blowing in your beard. I sang for you.
You did. I appreciate that. I like when that happens.
This is an outrageous start to an episode.
It is very weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So sing for me. Come on.
What?
Do a little thing. Come on.
No, that
Sing.
It's a lot. It's not the same, but it's a lot like saying, "Oh, you tell jokes?
Yeah.
Tell me a joke.
Okay.
Be funny. Go."
Okay, here I go. So.
No, that's not fair. You don't get to just suddenly do that.
I can do it. You
Yeah.
teed me up nicely. Okay. No, but you sing first.
Sing us a song. You're the piano man.
Yeah. Why did you brag earlier?
Sing.
That's
I didn't brag.
Yeah, you did. Okay, come on. Let's get this episode started. Jim, our amazing listeners have given us demands from studios literally all over the world.
All over the world.
There you go. Around the world, You know why this came about is we were looking through our TikTok, which we have a TikTok now, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
And the opening to our 28 Days Later video is you and me singing, and you said it makes you cringe every time you hear it.
Because we sang Princes of the Universe, and it's a fun song, but we didn't just sing it normal. We sang it in a weird, overly
showy.
And like
it
just not in a very corny way.
Yeah. It was very corny.
It was so corny.
I'm amused. Well, I told you to say if it takes you any solace, it's the video that people have watched the least. So
I did, and then
I think
and
maybe
now everyone's going to go watch it.
Well, I gotta watch. So go check out Jim and I singing beautifully.
I mean, we could sing it now.
No,
I hate it so much.
It makes you sad. So.
It does. It makes me sad.
It makes me sad. So yes, we have gotten demands from studios all over the world, and you can submit your demands over at studiodemandsit.com or on Twitter at studiodemandsit. You can send us any demand you'd like, and we have to meet them right here on the spot. And when we reach the end of this episode, we may have done our
A
jobs.
song for... Oh, no. Oh, shoot.
Okay, well, now we got to do a musical episode. Great, Jim. Throw that demand at us. But if we end up coming up with something great, this could very well be the demand that ends up being our season finale, where we will write the movie that's been conceptualized, which you all will vote on when we near the end of the season. But thank you to everyone who has submitted. Keep them coming. But today's demand, Jim, we kind of know what it is.
We do.
Because
that's been the theme for this season.
This season, we've been doing just a slight bit of homework in preparation. We still don't know what the demand is proper, but we've been doing commentary tracks for the movies we watch in preparation for our episodes. And you can hear those commentary tracks if you subscribe to our Patreon. So you can find the Studio Demands at Patreon, and for the amount of money you'd find in your couch, you could get commentary tracks to movies. So
give us your couch money.
Give us your couch money. Hashtag couch money if you enjoyed this episode. But today's demand comes from Nancy Gartner at Aim for the Legs Studios. Hey, guys. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Be polite. Don't. I feel like I'm razzing.
I'm thinking about that the studio name.
The Aim for the Legs?
I like that studio name.
Aim for the Legs Studios. And I feel like I'm being too hard on you.
That's okay.
I apologize.
I could take it.
Okay.
I'm a tough boy.
I'm gonna reach over here and hit you. Oh my God! I hit my mic.
You did. That's how hard you hit me.
Yeah, I punched you through my mic.
Yep.
Hello, Nancy. Okay, this is from Nancy. Here we go. I hope you guys read this. Surprise. Your Predator 3 episode lives rent-free in my head. Oh, that's one of my favorites from season 1. Prey took the Predator back to 1719, and wow, Aliens keeps trying prequels. Less wow.
Yes.
Yes, you are not wrong, Nancy. Maybe the trick was to go to a different time period all along. In honor of Jim's love of Westerns, the studio demands that you two take Xenomorphs to the Wild Wild West, not the Will Smith one. You must have a chestburster scene. A queen is not essential. An android should... Ooh, that's going to be tough. An android should play into this somewhere. No time travel. Don't adhere to any lore established in anything after Aliens 3. No returning cast members, but someone famous needs to be in this to sell the movie. Play on Western and horror tropes. Thanks for accepting my demand, Nancy. Well, thank you, Nancy. So, we are taking the aliens to the cowboys.
We are.
So, not to be confused with Cowboys and Aliens,
which is what we watched.
Which is what we watched for our commentary track. So, in preparation for this, if you want to hear us kind of ramble through a very fine movie. You can,
what an okay movie.
It sure was a movie. But the demand here is to take the Aliens franchise and put it in the Wild West. Jim, are you ready for this?
I was ready.
You were ready? What threw this off?
The stipulation, no time travel.
Were you going to time travel?
I was.
What? Oh, well, now I got to hear this. Okay, we'll come back to the fact that we can't time travel, but the simple fact that you had already conceived in just hearing this, you're like, well, I want to use time travel.
So
when Ripley and Hicks leave in Aliens, they go through a wormhole, and then Hicks, our main character, fights aliens in the Wild West, and then as he's dying, he's put back in the pod, shot back into space somehow, back into the wormhole, and then dies in Alien 3. Boom, time travel.
Wow, Jim, that was a really good pitch. Also, when did we switch bodies? We switched at some point in that pitch.
Wow, weird. Okay. Time travel, go.
So when we were first discussing this episode and we did the glimpse to see what it was going to be about to do our homework, and we came up with Cowboys and Aliens, you had actually posited a couple options. Mm-hmm. I think initially it was originally a werewolf episode we were going to do.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we're like, cowboys and werewolves? Yeah. And that might be someone else's demand.
Yeah.
But then it came down to, you said to me one day, and I don't know if Cowboys was going to come into it, but you said Aliens or Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of both of them in the Wild West because that came up. And so that's what I was going to do.
You're going to do Terminator in the Wild West?
I was going to do Terminator and Aliens in the Wild West.
Well, it doesn't say we can't use Terminator.
It says we can't use time travel.
Well, I'm curious.
That was how I was going to justify it. I was actually... Terminator was going to be... that's how it was all going to happen. We weren't going to know the full backstory. Like, it might have come out in exposition and stuff, but a Terminator was going to show up in the time bubble with an egg.
In the Wild West.
In the Wild West, yes.
Oh, gosh. So then we have... Well, here's the thing. Androids are supposed to play a part in this.
And that's why, like, when I heard you read, put an android in there somewhere, I'm like, already done.
I already got it.
And then no time travel, and I was like, oh, it's all out the window.
Okay, well, maybe we can convince the studio. Maybe you could convince me. I mean, this already seems like that's a great...
It verges into Alien versus Predator territory, and that's not well done.
Well, Paul W. Anderson...
Predator 3 was my Alien versus Predator idea, so... We cribbed a lot for Predator 3 from my Alien versus Predator...
Aliens versus Predator in the desert.
Yeah.
Okay, so... We have a while. I'm gonna let's play on this. I know we'll probably have to do a second pitch, but right now,
sure.
The idea that the time bubble appears and a person.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
I was initially thinking it wouldn't be a whole person. Like I was initially thinking the Terminator would be destroyed in the trial. Like there would be like a couple limbs with the egg, like a couple Terminator arms with the egg, and that's it.
Oh, okay. So no person, just the...
Initially, that's what I was thinking.
Well, so one way to go would be if a person shows up with the egg, like they've just escaped with it. I'd want to know why they chose to go back here.
Sure, and those things might and would be explored.
But the thing is that while I would say, like, we could just assume this is our Kyle Reese type character and we don't know it's a Terminator, then thus to be revealed... ting, 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 oh, surprise, Terminator. Unfortunately, that's the twist ruined in the preview of Terminator Salvation, so I don't think we can do that. So if this person showing up in the time bubble is just already a cyborg that's been beat up and has the... It's like we already know from the get that this is our T600 or our T2000 or whatever version of the Terminator we have. I did not expect you to go with Terminator.
It was when you posited the option.
Yeah.
With many times when someone gives me options, one of the first things that goes through my head is yes, why not both?
Why not both?
And so that was where I started going with.
Well, tell me more. Go ahead. Tell me more about.
It's just that initial image. That was the whole thing. What would I do with it from there?
Yeah.
So the reason it happened is because Skynet can only see so far back in time, and as it goes further back in time, it loses track of it loses track on who would be the appropriate person to assassinate to get rid of John Connor,
right?
And anyone else they need to get rid of. So it knows this portion of time and place have descendants of people. And so...
To be fair, though, Dark Fate did establish that John Connor is no longer the key to a future. That no matter who the chosen one of the army is going to be, someone will rise up and some version of the singularity will occur. And it won't even be Skynet anymore. But just to say that this doesn't have to be a Connor. Right?
No, it doesn't have to be. In fact, what would probably end up happening is, in whatever exposition, it would basically say Skynet after. Because they need to go back in time. So one of the tools that they're able to find is they find a xenomorph egg, and they realize what it can do. However, in their future, most of mankind is dead, so there really aren't enough to utilize the xenomorph for a weapon of mass destruction the way they would need to.
You unleash one egg to infect a person Well, then you would need a queen to infect.
You would
an
need
entire,
a queen,
or you need a whole bunch
and
of
another
eggs.
demand is no queen.
It says not essential.
Oh, not essential.
The queen wasn't essential.
But essentially, the idea being Skynet has decided to take the xenomorph, this thing that it realizes exactly how deadly it is and how fast it spreads.
Yeah.
And since they have time travel capabilities, they want to send it back in time. And one of the things I would suggest is they've actually done this multiple times, and each time they have been stymied. Some group of resistance people have managed to stop
the xenomorphs,
the xenomorphs and the Terminators from spreading them, going back like each epoch, each era, and this is they've now reached back to the Wild West.
And then it would just turn into sort of the checklist of aliens tropes, like, okay, the town like picked off one by one, rise up to defeat the aliens.
Yeah.
Like, and how does Terminator play into this, though?
That's what brought the egg back.
Okay, so is he protecting the aliens? So we have like the humans versus a Terminator and his army of xenomorphs.
Maybe that's not bad.
Well, let's.
Again, I didn't have a fully thought
That's
out
okay.
thing.
You came in with some ideas there that are interesting. Unfortunately, it does not meet the demands. And so, while I do like the idea of a Terminator going back to the Wild West, the xenomorph being the demand. I'm like, would a Terminator be better in the Wild West instead of an alien? But let's.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so I love your pitch, but unfortunately, that's not what the studio asked for.
Correct.
Yeah. You save your Terminator ideas for a pirate ship later, okay?
Okay.
God. Don't think about it. We're talking about aliens. You suddenly are like, swashbuckling Terminator? Okay, so one of the issues that we kind of bumped up against in rewatching Cowboys and Aliens is you're thinking about swashbuckling Terminator.
No, I'm while you're talking, I'm putting a plot together.
I see your eyes rolling back into your head, a little drip of drool coming down here.
It's my process.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't even know where I was going. So essentially, like the main thing we have to figure out is how do we get aliens to this location? So ship crashing. Oh, I remember what I was saying. One of the things we bumped up against with Cowboys and Aliens is it didn't know what it wanted to be. Everyone in the movie is playing it serious as hell. But it should be a campy movie. With a title like Cowboys and Aliens, it should be from the director of Iron Man. Unfortunately, it just doesn't. It just wobbles back and forth between too serious and not fun enough. With this, she said play up the Western tropes and the horror tropes. Alien and Aliens are as good as they are because they're horror movies.
Yeah, I think the Western portion of this movie should be serious. It should be
Deadwood with aliens.
Yeah, Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Unforgiven with aliens.
Yeah. So with that said, we'll set up our town and our characters in a moment here, but basically the main question is how do we get the aliens here?
Actually, that's easy. I've already figured out how to do that.
Okay.
I don't know how to get an android here. That's
okay. Well, what's your pitch for getting the aliens here?
It's a boomtown, right? It takes place in a boomtown, so there are mines surrounding the entire.
For our listeners, because I know I would never be lost in such a term. But why don't you tell them what a boomtown is?
Boomtown in the Wild West. I think they happened in the Wild West. They actually took place much more often before the Wild West during the Gold Rush of 1849, which technically wasn't the Wild West.
It's cowboys and six shooters. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Boomtown.
Boomtowns would be towns that would very quickly build up because of all the mines in the area.
Okay.
So they'd explode with all this wealth, and then almost just as quickly, when those mines would dry up, the towns would basically disappear and become ghost towns.
What I assumed you meant by that, but thank you for clarifying. So this is our town is a boom town. Are we on the front end of that, or are we on the back end of it? It's better to isolate.
Midland, oh, you're right. Isolation is so back end.
Yeah, I think having them like past their prime, kind of like
so people are leaving town.
Yeah,
the mines are drying up.
Yeah. So the people who've been there the whole time, the longest, the people who like made this their home, and all these people came in and now they're leaving. So they're a struggling town. Like these are people who've committed to this being their land.
Sure.
They've staked their claim, and this is, they're gonna. So that's sort of our setting.
And there's a gang that extorts people and stuff in and around the area, and right, since everything's drying up, it's getting harder for everyone. Even the gang is having a harder time extorting people. So people are getting everyone's getting more desperate in every way.
Could we open pretty early? Like in our establishing of this, it'd be interesting to have them holding someone up again. Like you guys are like not trying to make a comedic bit out of it, but just to show how this is hard on everyone. Like we're running out of people to rob. Of course we're robbing you again. Now give us your shit. Like
maybe that does feel pretty campy and funny though.
Okay. But I like where you're going with like that everybody's struggling.
Well, technically that was your idea. I'm giving you the credit for that. Take the credit.
Okay, I take it.
This is sort of where our xenomorphs enter, our aliens enter.
Okay.
Is
we got a struggling town and
a miner who is continuing. They have their one plot of land and they're continuing to mine it, even though it hasn't given up any gold in a long while. They're just like, this is all I got to try.
Once he found some dust and he's like determined to find more. And it's been years. Gotcha.
And he breaks through into a cavern.
Okay, good.
And when he comes to, he's looking around and I don't know if he realized. Well, he would realize that this is not a natural formation. To us, the audience, we realize he has fallen into a ship.
Into a ship, yes. Okay.
It doesn't have to be a predator ship. What are they called? I was about to say Yuan Ti, but that's actually a type of creature from D&D.
So it's a xenomorph ship. Or like the space jockeys in the original one.
I was going to say maybe the space jockeys.
It's some sort of alien craft,
but not necessarily the predator.
Okay, we'll say it's some sort of alien craft.
Yes.
There's a collection or a harvest of eggs in this ship. Got it. Continue. I like where you're going here because I actually have some ideas to build off of this.
And then either we do a thing where he has been egged, or he runs off to get other people to tell him about it, and when they come back, they get egged.
How about we go a little Daniel Plainview here, and he's got a kid. He has like a son that falls in, like, Dad, I'm coming down to help you. Okay, kid. And the kid comes down, and the kid's the one who's attacked, and he brings the kid to town infected. Like, yeah, we were attacked by a creature we think is some sort of alligator.
I mean, that's not. That's not bad.
I don't want to make him like 12. I'm talking like 20-something. If this miner is like in his 40s, 50s.
See, I'm imagining the miner being your archetypal lone prospector type thing. But that's fine actually. My partner, my son, this other person is sick. Help him out. We're attacked by an animal or something. Or look at this snake thing on its face. This spider snake on their face.
Yeah. Some sort of cobra.
My other suggestion would be he gets doesn't get egged and I don't think he's been implanted yet.
Yeah. No face hugger yet.
But he takes one. He takes an egg and he takes it back to town to show.
Look what I found.
And so then we would get a scene where it opens up. We'd actually get a scene just like or not just like, similar to Aliens, when it's shooting all around the lab. We could get a scene where it's shooting around like dodging on a saloon.
Maybe not a saloon, but like a city hall or some sort of like the church, like some sort of place, like community place that isn't. Let's not go to the saloon yet. That's the easy community watering hole to go to.
That's the combo. But
how about
it could be somewhere else.
the place where you hand in your gold dust? Like you would like go to the what essentially is the bank to cash in, and that's where he's like, I didn't find gold, but I found this.
Yeah. How much is this worth?
What is it? Some
Yeah.
sort of dinosaur egg. It's not a dinosaur. Wait, did they know what dinosaurs
They
were
didn't
back
have
then?
dinosaurs yet.
It's some sort of snake egg.
I don't know. You tell me. I found it in the mine.
How much is it worth? If you don't know
That's
what
not
it is,
how this works.
It's got to be worth
We
something
take
if you don't know
gold.
what it is. We only take gold, Seamus.
Yeah.
So then that gets our first infected person there. I think that works. Maybe the assumption for the audience is when he falls through, sees the harvest of eggs, it's like, oh, here it comes. And then
Yeah, that's why I wanted him to take an egg back.
Right.
To kind of like create that even more tension. Like
Yeah.
I would film it where like it seems like he's like it's going to happen. And I don't want it to get campy. No.
Oh, good.
But, like I think it would be fun to do something like he sees one like he sees the eggs, and because he's a miner and he hits rocks, he actually smashes one.
oh yeah.
He smashes one, and like when he does that, he realizes this isn't rock; it's some kind of egg or
egg
like
thing,
some
yeah.
weird thing. And so that's when he takes one and he takes it back to town.
Okay.
So I mentioned the gang because I figure they finding out about this somehow would then go down there
Oh, so
because they want to get whatever it is.
when the incident occurs, when the face hugger happens in the gold dust, whatever. I don't know what the bank. I don't know if it is the exchange. The exchange. That someone would hear about it, it's spread. That's the danger happening there, and then like, hey, get a posse going. Let's head out to the caves. I think I got a claim we can go check out. So then we have the one face hugger there, and we have a group heading back to the caves where all the other eggs are. Okay, I have the next section of the movie here.
Okay.
And let's see if you follow me on this. When our minor character falls in egg scenario, when he's leaving, we see movement. We don't know what it is, but there's some sort of movement within the cave or in the ship.
Okay.
He gets back to town. Blah blah blah. When the bandits or the posse or these stagecoach robbers show up to go on the movement that we saw earlier is paid off to be some sort of android. And
Okay.
so one of the best things about Prey, which I never took into consideration, is that the Predator's technology would also be several hundred years old. Like, it never crossed my mind that when we saw the Predator, it wouldn't look like the Predator we know.
Sure.
So having, not a space jockey ship, but this alien craft that has xenomorphs eggs inside of it, to have a sentry within that is some sort of alien, rusty security android that's been waiting for an alarm to go off. And I'd be willing to debate whether or not it should look like. I know steampunk's we're going to Wild
It
West
should
camp
not.
territory.
No, I know what it should be.
Okay, go ahead.
It should actually be because it's an alien device.
Yeah.
It takes the shape of
Okay.
of things it sees. So it would actually look like the prospector that they know is back in town.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Because so far that's the one Earthling
that
this
has
thing
seen.
has seen.
Perfect. And that can be our celebrity. Maybe that's one of the famous faces, because one of the demands is we have to have someone famous in this. And the androids were played by Ian Holm and
Oh sure.
John
Well, and Lance Henriksen.
Lance Hedrickson, yeah.
Yeah.
So Winona Ryder.
And, well, if it's shape shifting, I was actually then going to say, right? So why didn't? What is the android's job?
It was to make sure no one it was programmed to protect the storage, to make sure that no one broke in, to thus create a xenomorph attack. And because that ship has been there for God knows how long, this thing is rusty and not at the top of its game. So I think having it be.
See, I think to me the point of including it's not just make sure there's like a robot android in it. It's the role that the android plays in the Alien franchise is to be human yet not human.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gotta tries to be
blend
human.
in. Okay, okay,
So it's the notion of rusty. I don't think is
okay.
It's old. It's old, and so it has taken time to wake up.
Okay.
And that's why it didn't stop the prospector.
Great. So I'm with you.
The difference here is, like in the previous Alien movies, the android was always a tool of the corporations.
Mm-hmm.
This android is not a tool of the corporations. It's an alien device, and its last command was to try to stop anything from.
Do not let these xenomorphs get out. And now, not only is one out, but several have just been woken up.
So then that initial scene, the
Minor.
the gang, the gang gets down. I was going to call them gangsters, but that's a different genre.
Yeah.
They get down there and they're looking at
the
these
apple
things
dumpling
and
gang
stuff.
is down there.
Yeah.
I think there's eggs.
Don Knotts. And the android comes out looking like the one person it was. And they're like, how'd you get down here? And they chase it. Like, so now there's a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And in that fight, like, he runs off into another part of the ship and it's dark and they give chase. And he changes into another one of them. So, this android can change its face and to look like any of them. And I just realized, because at some point I don't yet know how I want to incorporate Native Americans. I want to incorporate into
indigenous people. Yeah.
And even though we suggest this ship has been locked up, basically hidden away for so long, the correlation just occurred to me that I really like is the android, because it can change its face, because it can change its shape, it would play upon the notion of skinwalkers. A monster, a demon in most First Peoples, a lot of First Peoples folklore.
Yeah. So, okay, I like make sure to hold on to that. I think that the posse shows up. They're trying to raid this ship. They awaken some of these things, and the android shapeshifts to be what kind of version of T-1000 territory by giving him this ability, by the way.
A little bit.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking, I'm of the mind that we should have him only be able to turn into one person. Like, once the form is chosen, then it's stuck in that form. But that's fine. I'm okay with it changing its face several times. I'm okay with that. My first instinct was to stop you, but I don't think it matters at this point. So we have a sequence on the ship. Meanwhile, we know there's a facehugger back in town. However, the sequence in the ship ends if some of the aliens, some of the xenomorphs, those eggs, once they're cracked and they facehug, those facehuggers can't run around indefinitely, right? Like, do you recall?
No. Once a facehugger, a facehugger basically dies after it has laid the egg. After it's in.
But I'm saying once it hatches from the egg, how much time does it have?
How long?
I can't remember if it's indefinite.
A plot length of time.
Okay, a plot length of time. So, what?
Because I mean, also remember the one. Like, actually, I think it's a really long time because. The one that gets them in Aliens, or the one in the lab, that was one that what's his name, Reese releases. Is that okay? Never mind. I thought that was one that was hanging out for a while.
Well, okay. Whatever the case may be, after a sequence there, our android now knows there's at least one more, even if it's like bringing up an old clunky looking beep 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 device to go. I know there's one more xenomorph I need to go take care of. So now what almost appears to be our villain to this townfolk, this cowboy rolls into town looking to kill the xenomorph, which is attached to one of their friends. So it looks like, hey, who the hell are you? Especially if he takes the face of the leader of the gang, who they already don't like anyway, and suddenly this guy's rolling into town, not drunk, not as ragged as he used to be, and firing on all cylinders.
Coming to kill the one with the egg in him.
Yeah. So this is sort of like the next sequence is like whether we give this guy the ability to talk, this android the ability to talk or not, is essentially we've created like our next set piece is like this guy strolling down Main Street with the sun behind him, the wind blowing a tumbleweed across the street, and his poncho just flapping in the wind, and he's like, gun ready to take. Where is he? Where is this guy? But that sequence is going to end with the chest burster scene. We're going to see the droid will be too late to stop the chest burster.
Sure, yeah.
And so then it's like they think the droid is this mysterious man, this bandit is the threat. They don't understand what happened to the snake face here.
Yeah.
And then the chest burster happens, and then everyone's perception changes. Like, that guy was right. Bang, bang, bang. But now we have a xenomorph on the loose.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want any more xenomorphs from the cave to get loose, which might rope in our Indians? Sorry. Oh, jeez. I gave you shit during the...
You did give me shit.
I mean it with no malice, the Native Americans, yes. So do we want more xenomorphs to bust out of that ship? Did the droid torch them all? Does that bring in our natives? Or does the xenomorph that got loose in town, or Alien versus Cowboys, is that the one threat for now?
It did just occur to me, if the android's whole job is to prevent people from... prevent these eggs from infecting... anyone else or anything else, why didn't it destroy them a long time ago?
Maybe this is a cargo ship. It was bringing these things to study. Simple as that. Like going off with, is that Reese from? It's a Paul Reiser's character that he was.
So an alien organization is gathering these things.
Yeah. Then it plays into the android always works for the company. So it's not Weyland Yutani. It's a science
bunch
ship
of clicks and whistles.
It's a science vessel. Yes,
because it's an alien language.
Yeah. But it's a science vessel that these.
I'm not sold, but I don't have a better answer now.
I mean, the notion, like the understanding that these things are dangerous things, shouldn't prevent scientists from wanting to study them. So making this a science vessel that has crashed.
Well, now we have to do a whole bunch of backstory for a bunch of dead aliens.
We don't, because did we ever get an explanation for those damn space jockey?
No.
So same thing. We can.
But we also didn't have their technology wake up and attack.
Right, but I'm saying we don't necessarily need to go into a full backstory of this. But if we have to, it can be somewhere at the midpoint where they're sitting around the fire talking about the skinwalkers and the myths of dangers of the creatures out in the darkness and the shadow monsters, and tell us like I'm a scientist. I'm a security guard for scientists, to put it in your nomenclature.
Okay.
I was just taking my stagecoach to the science town.
To the science town.
Particularly if our droid ends up being maybe not our hero character, but like Bishop is in the second one, where he's like the sidekick to our hero in many ways.
I don't think he becomes a good guy, but he's not a bad guy. He's
there to kill the xenomorphs.
He is an antagonist to our heroes in one way or another.
Right.
Because he has no love or care for humans.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is there a way to? I want to throw something out there. Sorry, was your thought complete, or did I just interrupt you?
No, I'm coming up with like what if they actually managed to subdue him and put him in a cell? Because right now I have this idea that at some point later, maybe the third act, somewhere later on, a circuit judge or sheriff comes to town. Like they don't have regular law enforcement because
some sort of ranger that is like.
Well, no, like literally, there were types of lawmen. Like not every town had a marshal, so there would be a sheriff. There would be like a county sheriff who would go from town to town, and sometimes it would take a couple weeks before you would get your next visit.
He was delivering someone for a hang-in one town.
Sometimes
like
it's that. Sometimes no. Literally, I cover 6 towns across this like this portion of the state.
Yeah.
So it takes time for me to just go and check in and make sure everyone's okay. So, any problems that this town has, they have to take care of themselves until the sheriff can next show up.
So why bring this guy in? What is your goal here?
Because he's a point of authority. And one of the things that's going to happen is everyone's going to say, what do we do, Sheriff? And that becomes our main character if we don't want to
make the sheriff the main character.
I'm saying if we don't want to do that.
if we don't want to make the sheriff the main character?
Yes.
I
was saying I didn't.
like
Because the sheriff is always a main character.
Right. I like the idea that the sheriff's gone, gone for the hanging, I don't know, whatever. Like I like the fact that it's very.
And I
historic.
just thought it would be like it creates an interesting perspective if he shows up in not even in the middle of this thing, right when it should be resolved, pretty much the 11th hour, and he himself is a whole new problem to deal with. Right as they're figuring out how to get this wrapped up.
Hey, as I was coming here, I saw this great hole in the ground. I was checking out up on Minor, and lo and behold, there's all these eggs down there. Okay, I want to throw an element into this to keep the xenomorph threat going, because we get one out there. That's not enough. I don't want to hunt just one alien. I think we need to have aliens here, because why Alien works so well is its isolation. It's a small space. It's a group of survivors that are getting picked off one by one. Aliens works because it's a planet. It is more characters. It works much more for an action horror as opposed to the suspense horror of the first one. So I think we need more xenomorphs. And in order to do this, here's my suggestion. If you talked about the skinwalkers and the Native American belief of this folklore, having some of the Native Americans be like, hey, this threat is real, this plays into our folklore, but having a contingent of these indigenous people accept the face huggers, like they want it, like they think it's some like gift that these like the thing is, I want to make sure we don't villainize our natives.
Here's because the xenomorph, it doesn't play as much into it, but the xenomorph plays into another native folklore element. There are elements of the xenomorph that could totally be the Wendigo.
Okay, so they would be afraid of it.
Well, the Skinwalker already drove them away from this area, makes them very wary of this area.
Yeah,
and then Wendigo are showing up, and Wendigo. I always said Wendigo, and then I heard it was Wendigo, and so I'm trying to be appropriate to it's Wendigo.
I'm going with Wendigo.
Wendigo. Yeah, so that I would do something like that, like the natives, the natives show up. I don't even, no, they, you know what? They don't even show up. They're minding their own business.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, I was looking something up. I think I have a name for the movie.
Okay, cool. Hold that thought. Don't lose that thought.
But well, because you were saying you wanted more than one, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I was looking that up is because my title is singular.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's singular doesn't mean that there aren't more than one alien.
Yeah.
But they're just minding their own business, and they get attacked by the gang who have been chest burst.
The android didn't get some of the gang before.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of those got away, which leads us to 3 or 4 xenomorphs that attack a group of indigenous people.
Or no, actually one attacks.
Just one. Okay.
Them, and so they send their clearly the people over in that town messed with the Skinwalker.
They woke
the Wendigo. This is bad.
Yeah.
So we're gonna send you guys, our warriors, some of our warriors, to go take care. Like, you need to go hunt this down. Mm-hmm. And so they go to town, to confront these people who have messed with things that they shouldn't have.
Okay, I like this, because if we send our android to town to face off against Facehugger, one xenomorph there, and we have another xenomorph that got away and attacked the indigenous people, and then the indigenous people coming to town, basically to they could even show up almost Deus Ex style to take out the one xenomorph, because our droid is trapped in the jail and whatnot, and the people get, and then boom, xenomorph is dead. There's still the one that they've been running from that's still the threat, or did they stop the one that was the threat?
No, where I think I'm going with this is I want the townspeople, the remainder of the townspeople, and this handful of Indians,
warriors,
native warriors, they don't like each other, but they have to they somehow get across that, look, we need to work together to take these things out. Probably I'd say three xenomorphs.
Great.
At that point, however we get there, they need to take out 3 xenomorphs, which are somewhere or in this town hunting all of them. And so we get and then we'll have a nice bloody battle scene there, and then like right near the end of that is where I imagine the sheriff coming to town, probably shooting someone, saying like someone who's about to save the day, and going, "What's going on here?" and kind of messing up the. And not that that's. I don't want that to be the end. The end isn't the sheriff being all like, "I messed it all up."
Yeah.
But just like I like the his perspective of coming to town.
It's on fire.
Sure, dead bodies in the street, dead natives and dead townsfolk.
Yeah.
And also he sees them like running through the streets with weapons. Like, what chaos?
Hey, what did I walk into?
Yeah, something like that.
I can't leave you folks alone.
Maybe his head comes off.
Well, like we're gonna go Deep Blue Sea on this. He shows up and is like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to put an end to it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just a cameo appearance of a sheriff who's like,
no, again, I don't want it to be, it right. We're playing with Alien here, so it should be horrific. So I don't know if I want to go full Deep Blue Sea, but it just that idea. We don't have to do it that way. Maybe the sheriff never shows up. It's just an idea.
No, it's not a bad idea to have, like, especially if it's planted early that the sheriff's out of town. I'm going to go there because it's the first thing that pops in my head. The sheriff is established to be out of town for a hanging, which is why I keep saying it, in Back to the Future 3. He shows up at the very end after Biff has been taken out. Sorry, not Biff. Mad Dog Tannen has been taken out by Marty, and then he shows up and he's like, get him out of that shit. And go get that one. Like, he just comes in at the end there. Marshall Strickland passes by as a cameo as well. So, like, if we establish that the sheriff is a character that we may or may not see, having him show up in a key moment, like maybe they've managed to kill one of the xenomorphs, and there's still the 2 running around that they haven't taken out yet. The town is burning. They're all arguing about how the hell they're going to get away with, like, figure this out. And
like I want him to cause some sort of like, it would be something like our characters have already they've figured out a way to come together, and they have a plan, and they're about to catch and stop another one.
Yeah.
And that's when the sheriff shows up, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Like, and he thinks he has it figured out, so he's trying to chase the natives, like, get out of here, go back to before I shoot you. And the townspeople are like, no, sheriff, you don't understand. He's like, shut up and let me do it. Like, right? And like, no, we're gonna miss the window.
Yeah.
And they miss it, and that's when a xenomorph jumps out, kills a couple people, and then he's all like, what the hell's that? And he shoots it, gets splashed with some acid. And he's like, oh no, now I'm in it.
Yeah.
And from there we can keep him around for the rest, or maybe now he's just incapacitated. Something like that. Something like that. I like the idea of the authority coming in, trying to exert it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't quite. That goes awry.
Okay. I think your placement of him being like a third act situation, like to escalate to the finale, I think that works. I'm gonna throw an alternative in there.
Might be a 5-act story, I think.
Most movies are these days.
Yeah.
Let me try a different option here.
Okay.
Moving him to the front of the movie, and after the droid has basically gotten the eggs and the posse before they split, and he's like heading to town to get the one he knows where it is, comes across the sheriff, and they face off against one of the, like, a xenomorph there. No, that's not gonna. Sorry, my placement sucks because we shouldn't see a full-fledged xenomorph until after the chest burster scene. So never mind. I was going to suggest that our android takes the form of the sheriff before going into town. I think it's better that the android takes the form of one of the bandits that no one likes. You kind of see where I was about to suggest.
I do like him taking the. I do. I agree. He should be one of the bandits, but I just realized it might be. There's a series of events that I think would be fun. How and why would some of the gang get face hugged, why would the... Well, no, because the android is fine with that. Like, okay, they're not in egg form anymore. That's fine. They're now in these bodies. I will now, like, freeze these bodies, or I'll do something to make sure they stay here now. But that also then somehow has to go wrong.
I think there might be something to the pitch I had earlier, that there's some elements, whether it's with the indigenous people or one of the some zealot, maybe the priest in town who thinks this is a good thing. Someone who thinks, yes, we all should be face hugged. Yes, so that, like, if the android leaves the two on ice in stasis in the ship to go after the one he knows in town, and then the one posse member got away to the natives, tips off one of the indigenous people to trace it back to find more of these eggs to unlock them again. I'm saying that out loud now, and I'm realizing it's just keep going back to the ship, get more aliens. Like, there needs to be a more organic way to get us to our finale here, which needs to be the final showdown of a swarm versus the survivors, right? Like, that's how it should end. Or
I see what you're trying to build toward. I don't agree. I don't want to do a swarm.
Okay, the alternative is to go more like the last two or three versus the one.
Yeah, almost more like. I know that they're more like insect animals, so they're not going to do the whole marching down Main Street thing, but like almost like a standoff. So if we have 4 people left versus not an exact like number, like 2 or 3 xenomorphs, I think that's a really fun standoff. And being able to kind of pull back and show that the xenomorphs are like, you don't need a swarm. As cool as James Cameron's Aliens is,
we could just stand for 2.
Yeah,
2 or 3. All right. We should probably take a break real quick here. So go ahead and let's digest all this and come back and see what else we can kind of tighten up here, because we don't have a main character yet.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so let's just take a quick break here, and when we come back, we will continue to develop. And I want to hear your title. Sure. What are you going to call it? Alien
Frontier.
Alien
Frontier.
Yes, as we continue to develop Alien Frontier, or you can call it Aliens versus Cowboys.
You could.
But Alien Frontier is pretty good. Okay, we'll be right back. Here's some commercials.
Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Mike.
And we are brothers-in-law. We both love beer and are amateur home brewers.
Wait, so does that make us brothers-in-law?
I believe so.
Every episode, we will talk about aspects of beer and home brewing.
But nothing super technical, because we're learning this too.
So join us as we sit down together and dive into something beer-related.
Whether it's a little field research, tasting a certain beer style, or beers from a specific brewery.
Talk about our experiences brewing beer at home, including our own solo brews, as well as themed competitions we'll set up along the way.
We will also talk about some of our favorite aspects of brewing, like hops, extra ingredients, building our brew cave, and more. And of course, our own misadventures that have happened along the way.
So, if you like beer, are home brewing already,
or if you have an interest in home brewing and don't know where to start,
join us on Brothers-in-Law Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And make sure to follow us on Twitter at Brothers-in-Law, and check out our website, brothersinlaw.com.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Has this ever happened to you?
This video game is bullshit!
Are you tired of gaping plot holes and boring gameplay mechanics?
Look, all I'm saying is that if a full-fledged Krogan is falling off a platform, there's no way Commander Shepard has the upper arm strength to pull him up.
Has reading become just too tedious of a chore?
Ugh, books.
Are you bored of your same 3 murder podcasts?
Shocking. It's The Butler.
Allow me to introduce you to the brand new fan fiction podcast, with an X, hosted by our lovely basement-dwelling and real-life Muppet, Dan McCoy.
Well, that's hurtful.
And myself, of course, the blonde bombshell, with the blood of Odin and the great looks of Jake Busey from Starship Troopers.
That's accurate.
And with our powers combined...
No.
Oh, you never let me do what I want to do.
I said no, man. We're not doing that.
Fine. Anyway, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your fix from. Remember, fan fiction with an X.
Well, whether you're ready or not, we're back.
Okay.
There we go. So, all right. So we have like the finale of this. You're suggesting it could be 2 or 3. How many xenomorphs did we destroy over the course of this thing? Is the last man standing of the xenomorphs the face hugger that started this whole thing off? Like, did that one get away?
Here, I was about to go ew, and the reason is because Alien versus Predator makes a main character alien out of an alien that's injured early.
Oh, that's right.
They do a classic. That one's scarred, and that's how we identify
It's
it.
got more power now.
But because of that, it gets plot power. Like not even it gets plot armor, but it also gets plot powers, and it really bothers me.
So we don't that. But the thing is that like right now, as we have it, we have our miner getting face hugged and unleashing that xenomorph on the town that our android then shows up to take out. Meanwhile, we have at least 2 or 3 face huggers.
Maybe they do. Maybe they actually like the chest burster bursts out,
Bam.
and they actually manage to kill the chest burster.
Great.
And also, a thought I had, since the android wants to preserve these things, he's come not to kill the prospector, just to take him back. So he's like, I want him. Like, you can't have him.
He's our friend.
Because they think, he's a bandit, and like, no, you can't have him. And so that's sort of why they get into a fight, and then their friend chest bursts, and he's all like, the alien android, the bandit, is now trying to stop everyone else from killing this demon snake that just popped out of their friend.
Demon snake.
Okay, but he's
and ultimately, and like if they do manage to kill that, like, what's going on here? And the android, the bandit, like, just shuts up, not saying anything. So they go and lock him up.
great.
So now they're like, this is crazy. This is insane.
Yeah.
Now we get to take a nice big breather and go over
To our
natives.
and
or the bandits.
because they locked him up, the couple that he put on ice, or the ones that got away, get to the natives, and we get the chest burster attack of the indigenous people versus the xenomorphs.
You know what? Actually, what we'd get. So I think we're putting the mine pretty far from town. And there's a lot more time. The way we're talking, it feels like hours have passed. I actually think a couple days are going to go by here.
Okay. Yeah.
A day or two, or at least a day.
Yeah.
Because I think what's going to happen is maybe our bandits that got away, maybe they got away with an egg, or maybe they got face hugged. Basically, the idea popped into my head that they do get away, and we get a scene after we're done in town. We get a scene of them at their camp, and they're getting sick, and we see their chest bursters burst, and there's no one to take them out.
Yeah, they have like the 3 of them all.
And then we need some time, not too much time, but we still need some time for the chest burster to grow into the
xenomorph proper.
the at least adolescent stage.
The black
xenomorph.
cloud. Yeah. So if the couple of guys that got away are then chest bursted, are they the ones that then attack the natives?
Yes.
Okay. So
we need one of them, right? So if four bandits go back to their camp and they all got face hugged.
Yep.
What a bunch of idiots. And they all start getting sick and they all chest burst.
Yep.
One of them heads toward the natives.
And the
one
other 3...
xenomorph goes towards the native village, and the other 3 head toward town.
Okay. I
don't know why they split that way.
Just the way.
So the story can happen.
So the movie can happen. I like the idea that the indigenous people take out the xenomorph. Talk about like the stupid white boys have initiated angered the skinwalker and the Wendigo and have awakened the Wigan. So they go into town to be like, hey, assholes.
Yeah.
And then upon their arrival, that's when the xenomorphs attack.
Maybe right now I'm not too I don't have any big feelings about if it happens before or after. Like, actually, I kind of like the idea that it happens after a xenomorph attack on the town, because then you could do something like the priest, if we want to put a priest in there, does start accusing the natives when they come to town, like you brought demons, down on us.
You brought demons down on us.
Yeah.
Let me out of this jail cell and I'll explain everything.
Yeah.
I brought the demons.
I can take the demons away.
So we have at least 3 xenomorphs to attack the town.
Mm-hmm.
And start picking off people one by one. Kind of gives
3
us
by 3.
3 by 3. Yeah.
They hunt like raptors.
Clever girl. In the trying to take these things out, the sheriff shows up, sees his town fighting, tries to put a stop to it.
More trouble, more miscommunication, and everyone not trusting each other.
He's mauled by one of the remaining xenomorphs. So we have 2. Like, did the town get the 1, but there's still 2 left? And then they attack the sheriff, and now we have 2 left. And then it's the town folk versus the remaining 2, and that leads up to our finale.
Yeah, okay. I think so.
And then do they ultimately destroy these things? Do they win? They win.
I do see them winning.
And then blowing up the ship with all the dynamite they can find.
Oh. Maybe, yeah, okay.
Okay.
What do they do with the android?
I mean, he can just stay in town, I suppose. He can't get back in space, that's for sure. He's the new sheriff.
No, I don't like that.
He searchers off into the woods.
I mean, the natives would point out, hey, that's the skinwalker.
Mm-hmm. We can tell. Like, it's very clear he's not human.
He would do something like the
inhuman. Yeah.
They already know. Like, there would be things that we would put into the script where the town is like, they sure you say you're Black Bart, you look like Black Bart, but you are not behaving like Black Bart.
Yeah.
So they would know.
They already be suspicious of him, and
yeah.
like he's
and
the skinwalker.
then you'd do something like he would change right, oh, clearly you listened to that guy when he showed up, so I'm going to become that guy. Let me out of here. No, he's the sheriff in the cell. It's like, no, we're not doing that.
Now we're definitely not going to let you out here. We can. I mean, he can.
Or he gets free, and it's a 3-way standoff.
Our droid, one of the native folk, you're saying a triangle.
Our Earthlings.
Xenomorphs are bad guys.
The android and the xenomorphs.
And that thing's a bad guy. That Skinwalker's a bad guy. And all us human folk, us Earthlings, are teaming up to kill that thing and that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a good idea. It should not come down to the city folk, or the Earthlings versus the droid. The droid needs to be taken out before the xenomorph. The xenomorph needs to ultimately be the final threat here. Don't you think? Because I feel like it would be unfulfilling to be like, the xenomorphs are all dead and we still have 15 minutes left of the movie.
Okay, then that happens early then. That happens very shortly after the natives come to town, because they would point out, hey, that's a skinwalker. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you talking about? That's Black Bart. Yeah, he's acting weird, but that's Black Bart. Like, no, that's so then our townsfolk and natives start fighting over, not necessarily entering combat over it, but
arguing.
Very, very close. They're about to. Mm-hmm. They're basically about to come to blows over what to do with this, and that's when the android itself is all like, "Okay, I'm done with this," and it busts out of the jail.
Yeah.
And so then there would be a
scuffle,
a battle there, where they have to take out the android. So now it's off the table for the second half of the movie.
Maybe not necessarily full on destroy him before, but by injuring him, wounding him, so we can see sparks and whatnot. But because I do think he should still be involved in trying to kill and destroy the xenomorph.
Why? He wants to preserve them. He wants to capture them, but he wants to preserve them.
I just don't want to take him off the table so at the halfway point of the movie. I want him to stick around a little bit longer, as we move towards our finale. But we still don't know what the finale is necessarily.
We also, as you pointed out, don't have a main character.
Well, that's what I was going to say next. Like, let's determine who. Oh, I mean, we have some options here based on the history of the successful versions of these movies, the Alien films, and then drawing from Prey, which gave us was basically the template for why we're doing this in the first place, having a strong female lead to kick this off. To have the woman in town, the whore that works at the saloon, the one woman, the
saloon gal.
Yeah, it could be her.
She doesn't have to be a woman of the night.
That's right. It does not have to be her. It doesn't have to be that. A female prospector. I don't know what the best way to approach like our main character should be, but there is a little bit of a tradition of like Ripley was the least obvious choice to survive that first one.
Sort of. As our friend Finn once pointed out, she told everyone what to do, and then they all died because they didn't listen to her.
She's the smartest person on the ship. Why didn't anyone listen to her? So having our female lead in town be the one who is the voice of reason, but the thing that makes Prey really good as well is that our main character makes mistakes and then has to like recover from them. She's not infallible as a hero. She's not. Well, I hate the term, but she's not a Mary Sue. Like she's not this infallible character who doesn't make mistakes. So having our hero, if we choose it to be the woman of the town, who like I want her to like make mistakes that she then has to make up for. Like if she even lets the droid out instead of the droid breaking out, she's like, all right, I'm trusting you, Skinwalker. Just help stop them from arguing. We got to destroy this alien thing. You're our best chance at making that happen. I'm letting you out. Don't let me down. Like that's kind of a mistake on her part to like free him. Just wanting to keep all our characters on the back foot and having our main character at a disadvantage. Being a woman in that era is a disadvantage. Having her trust the wrong guy being an error on her part as well, so that it does come down to our final girl versus the xenomorph. In Prey, our main character. By the way, if anyone hasn't seen Prey and they're listening to this, please stop now and just watch that movie. It is so goddamn good. It's
really good.
One of the best movies of the year. But having her she has let's kill this last xenomorph. Let her be the one who figures out how do they kill them and just shoot it to death, right? But that
basically
these things aren't completely mindless. They do have a survival technique that allows them to maim and kill the people attacking them. Does she just come down to be the better shot and kill the thing in the end?
Interestingly, because of the technology available, unless we take it to another venue, like we come up with a Box Canyon plan, but even that actually then is a lot of this I think is going to feel reminiscent of Alien 3.
Could you know what? We also missed a trick here. We just had the xenomorphs infecting humans. We do have history, and we said we can go all the way up to Alien 3 of the facehuggers going after some other living creature. Do you want to see a buffalo xenomorph?
I do.
And that is our final battle against is that
actually? So I mean, I do, but at the same time, don't get me wrong, I was pretty much the right age when those toys came out. But some of those xenomorphs got ridiculous, and when they do the Predator xenomorph in Alien vs. Predator 2, hated it.
Okay.
I hated it so much. Now I hated it because it copied the way.
Okay.
That's a whole other rant.
What does the Wendigo look like traditionally? Does it look like the X-Men Wendigo, like a big Sasquatch looking thing?
That's not necessarily. Often it's like that. It's like a big evil Bigfoot, but. Fallout actually have Wendigo in it, and they look like xenomorphs.
Huh. Well, the reason I ask is that if we have our posse getting infected and creating the traditional xenomorphs that we're familiar with, if what a creature, a wolf or a dog, because we've seen dog xenomorphs
Yeah.
in Alien 3, or a buffalo or a horse. Like if we see
Moose.
a moose, hey moose.
I mean, it's a funny word, and they look kind of funny, but moose are very dangerous.
Moose are very dangerous. Do some Googling, folks. Moose are scary. What I'm saying is that if
xenomoose.
xenomoose, if it's a wolf or a dog,
Hashtag xenomoose.
there you come on. You can have your xenomorph. If it's something furry or whatnot, that then when it becomes the xenomorph version of it, it basically looks like what a Wendigo would look like to the Native American people, and that is what they.
I don't. Every story I know, the Wendigo, it like there's no like clear description of the Wendigo.
Okay, like,
right?
so
It's a mysterious creature that looks a lot of different ways. But I think to get closer to that, if we wanted to have a facehugger attack an animal that would get there, a bear.
Yes. Why didn't I think bear? Yeah.
Yeah.
So having a
Because
bear.
moose.
Yeah, 'cause
Mooses.
I know you want the freaking antlers. Oh,
Yeah.
that's scary. But a bear. That if our final battle is a bear xenomorph versus the last couple people who aren't dead in this boomtown,
Sure.
there's our final battle. I mean, what do you think? Is that
Why? Where was it? Why did it come down? Why did it wait until?
see? This is where I go back to having someone do this on purpose. That if there's a character who thinks these eggs should be unleashed and like try to make a ceremony out of it.
That feels really weird to me.
Okay.
Set in the Wild West.
Okay. Silence. The clock is ticking. So it basically just
you're right. That silence is bad. Like trying to do something like that rather than like somebody being like, yes, this is like I'm a weird zealot that suddenly worships alien eggs. What if it's if we want to get there? What if the bandits see a facehugger take someone down?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, holy cow, that's amazing. What if we take one of these and we try to get the bear that's been messing with us?
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other plot we gotta do. But using that to like, haha, bear, we took you down with the spider snake. Not realizing that it was laying an egg and that.
Okay. That seems campy. It's like this is the danger here
Sure.
of like we don't want to come up with an AVP. Right now, aesthetically speaking, like all like the production design of this feels really cool. That we're having xenomorphs being fired at by cowboys. All that's cool. But it really just comes down to a satisfying conclusion to this whole thing, and having a standoff in the streets of the last few surviving gunslingers versus the last xenomorph or morphs.
What if their plan isn't even to take them out? They just want to get away. So the plan is to get onto the stagecoach, get the horses, keep them alive, keep the horses alive, get them connected to a stagecoach, and get the 6 people that are still alive out of town.
Okay.
And in trying to leave town, because every time they go outside, they get attacked by one of these things from nowhere.
Not a stagecoach, a train. Our finale can take place on a train in motion.
I mean, a stagecoach would be in motion as
No,
well.
but a train gives us hallways. It gives us like space for them to fight in. Like we've taken them from the woods to a town that's been obliterated and set on fire, and then getting on a train to escape the last of these. And the xenomorph is on the train, and they have the engine on one end and the xenomorph on the other, and they're closed. Like,
That's probably the better way to go.
I hope that's not too much like the original Resident Evil,
Well, now I don't want it. I don't want to do it.
because it is
Get out
kind
here.
of.
No, I don't want to do that.
Dang it!
That's
I thought I had
another
something.
Paul W.S. Anderson
Oh
movie.
God, what have I done? Okay, so train is off the table.
Train is a good
Wait, okay.
Western.
I back it up. Screw the train. Train was a good idea, but we're not going there
Because I know how to narratively fit it in.
the train.
So,
Forget
yeah.
it. I think if the ship, where the ship even is, if the plan is to go blow that thing up, so this doesn't happen anymore. So they're not just fleeing the alien. The alien is basically following them, chasing them, as they flee back to the ship to blow it up. So then.
So they that's kind of a part of their plan is they realize this is a suicide mission.
Yeah, and that they're taking all the dynamite to blow this thing up. Then our finale doesn't just take place on the ship, but if it's the mining tunnels that lead to the ship. So then we have an isolated, contained space for them to fire their guns at, like to face off.
I see what you're saying. The reality of that type of thing is where we could get there. So basically, if it's one man's mine, it's not going to be like there's not going to be lots of tunnels splitting off all kinds of ways. Those types of operations were usually done by big companies.
Sure, but this town is already falling apart.
It was a company mine.
Yep.
The company
Abandoned it.
thought that we got everything, we
dried
got
up.
all the gold, we're done, and they sold it.
To a miner.
They sold it to this guy.
And that's why
he has a maze of tunnels in this mountain.
And they are going there. They've killed the xenomorphs, but there's still one left. They're racing back to the mines to blow the ship up. And the xenomorph is on their tail.
Yeah, if we got it, that's probably dramatically appropriate.
What's
there be one xenomorph?
Would you want more than one?
I was just thinking the two. The two or three.
It could be the two. I think we at least have to have 4 or 5 in this movie to begin with.
Yes.
So if it comes
I just didn't want to do a swarm.
No.
Even if we got up to like
7.
Even 2 handfuls, 10 is what that number would be.
Okay. Good counting, Jim.
And they got and a couple of them got picked off earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fine. I don't know. Just going down to one feels too. I don't know why.
Simplistic.
I don't know why
That's cool.
It bothers me.
I'm all for it if we want more for this finale.
Cliche. To me, going down to one, like, oh, there's the one left taking us out. That feels. Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers cliche.
Great. I'm more than happy to have three of these things still chasing them through the mines as they're just going to blow the ship up.
Because, and actually, I guess having a couple more wouldn't be too bad, because really, to take one of these things out, like if they manage to take one out without someone dying in the process, if they do, they only do it once. Basically, every time they take one out, someone will probably have to die to do it.
Sure.
Because remember, they're full of acid.
Yes.
And Wild West weapons aren't exactly not tidy. They're not tidy.
So getting back, facing off in the ship, blowing that thing up, taking out the last of the aliens, our woman and maybe like one other get out of the mine in the end. We should have a survivor here, essentially.
Yeah. 1
or 2 survivors of the town. Big explosion. The aliens have blown up. The xenomorphs are gone. The ship is gone. Boom! It's exploded. I mean, if we want to go, like, really going back to like some of the source material, to have the droid make it all the way to the end, like Bishop does in 2. I don't know if I want to do that, but essentially having the 1 or 2 survive.
I want to go back. Obviously, the bad Alien Covenant went back to the android being a bad guy, right? Lance Henriksen, Bishop, was the only good android.
Yeah, right.
I want to keep this android as alien as possible. I really like the idea that he doesn't care about people. It's not even does not care.
It's not in his programming to care. He just doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that. But having the mine blow up and the 1 and or 2 characters survive, they've done it. They survived they survived it. And then we walk off into the sunset.
I think if our 1 character survives, we then have a denouement scene of her returning some sort of coup. That might be the wrong word. Some sort of item for the warriors back to the native village.
Yes.
And then her leaving town.
Yeah. I'm going to say it.
It's just a ghost town.
I'm going to say it because it is just a ghost town now. It's been burned to the ground. I'm going to say it because I'm sure there's someone listening right now that's like, come on, guys, it's right there. When they blow up the mine, they do find some gold. Like, I just want to say that might be too cute of a happy ending there. That, like, and lo and behold, there was still gold in the mine. I just wanted to put it out there as a potential option.
The ship was in the way.
The ship was in there. There's gold underneath the whole time. They shouldn't have gave up. I'm trying to name our alien, our synthetic here, our droid. because they went alphabetical in the series.
Did they?
Yeah. So it was
Oh.
Ash is the first one, Bishop's the second one, Clue is the third one in Resurrection, because Bishop's in 3 as well.
Clues from Tron.
You might be right there. Can't find it. Alien Frontier.
What is Dave? Oh yeah, David. So yeah, no, you're right.
Yep,
C
it
was
was-
used somewhere.
It was Call, C-A-L-L, Call. So Ash, Bishop, Call, and then David. So our android would have an E name, or the bandit that he takes over if it's like Everett.
Sure.
Then just to stay within tradition of the franchise.
Evil Everett.
They call him Evil Everett.
He's not so bad. It just had to be phonetic or alliterative.
Yeah, it'd be alliterative. So she, blow that ship up,
Yeah.
taking out the xenomorph in the end and surviving it, giving that last little gift, like that thing back to the natives, and then
I
riding
think-
off in the sunset.
I think our main character is the wife and saloon owner.
Cool. Yeah, I like that.
So her husband dies at some point.
Yeah.
And that I don't know, like that was a detail that was in my head. I had to get it out there.
Great. No, that gives her like a place to start, that she's not inherently someone who should be good at with a rifle, or like it's not a hunter. It's not. She's not a miner. She's a saloon owner. Like not a saloon girl. She's,
Correct. Yeah.
She's the innkeeper or whatnot.
Yeah.
So aesthetically, like it'd be important to, especially because the demand said so, playing on the horror tropes as well as the Western tropes. This should be R. Like this should be an R-rated,
Oh, yeah.
bloody, scary ass movie.
Well, right, because there are also, like, I know we didn't talk about too many characters, but we have I think we'd have a town of probably 20 people, 6 or 7 of which have names.
Yeah. And we don't want to make the mistake that Cowboys and Aliens did, which is like set up all these people to have all these grand arcs and whatnot. And it's not that every character in the story can't have somewhere to start and somewhere to go, but in general, I think the amount of development all these characters should get should be about as much development as the Marines get in Aliens.
Yeah.
Like I think the mistake of giving everyone these grand arcs like they did in Cowboys and Aliens was kind of a mistake, because it didn't focus who's the main. Like you want to say Daniel Craig's the main character of Cowboys and Aliens.
I mean, he technically is.
Yeah, but
But we also spend a lot of time with Harrison Ford.
and Olivia Wilde.
Yep. Like
and-
the person I love, Sam
Rockwell.
and frankly, my love for him was not. No, the reverse of that. They did not have him on screen equal for my love of him. Spend more time with that dude.
It felt like a waste to have him, and of course,
Right. His arc was, I had a wife,
and I'm gonna get her back.
and that's it.
Oh no, he learned how to shoot.
Oh, he did. You're right. That's about the size of what the arcs should have been if you're going to do so many people.
Yeah. So with ours here, having some town folk and giving them some personalities, develop them
Make the town feel lived in enough.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. But our focus really should be on our droid, our android, Everett. The like not that he's. I'm just trying to narrow it down to who do we get perspective of, who are our characters. We have like our main Jane here, like our saloon owner. She's our.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I guess when you say perspective, I think Everett should. He remains. He does. We don't get his perspective. He remains an outside. He's a dark figure.
Yes. I just mean so much as when we're cutting between plots to combine everything,
sure.
we get to see this mysterious figure that we know is a shapeshifter. Like we're not getting some deep lore about him. It's just like the movie allows the audience to perceive the movie through his journey. Mm-hmm. And when we're in town, I think this is a visual medium, so it's much more of a visual thing than a narrative on the page thing, or even something we can say here through audio. But it's just essentially how we see the town and how we experience it. Who are we kind of with? It would be nice, much like the first Alien, to not particularly know who's gonna make it to the end.
Which is also why I didn't really want to. The notion of a main character. I like ensemble casts in general.
Sure.
But even those have a main character.
Yeah. But basically,
much
like
to my chagrin.
keeping this would be like a camera work technique thing where it's like
Sure.
you see a lot of people on screen, and as people narrow down, the camera gets tighter.
Sure.
Not enough horror movies do this, but when you play with the last girl trope, smart visual filmmaking is showing a lot of group shots, 2 shots, singular shots as we narrow
Sure.
down into horror movies like Friday the 13th tend to do that when it's kill time. We will see the group, we will isolate the person, and then the camera stays with the singular one shot through most of the kills. And it's a pretty standard filmmaking technique, but also our perspective will be perceived through not the xenomorphs. We would never like be alone with the xenomorphs unless they are in the midst of attacking. So a third perspective would be any of our indigenous people, someone from that group, the leader of that warrior troop, whatnot.
Until they can join our townspeople.
Maybe that's who our second survivor is. Our woman from town and one of the natives.
I was thinking about that. My only concern about doing that is it feels I don't want it to feel tokenism. I don't want it to feel like, oh, he survived because
we're killing the rest of them.
checking boxes.
We're killing the rest of them.
That is true.
Yeah.
Who survives? It's fine with that changing.
Okay.
On the page. I don't need to. I don't feel compelled to determine that now.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we have a full movie. There we go.
I think so.
I'll go over the demand one more time here. So, the Queen is an essential. We have at least 2 chest burster scenes. We have 1 clear chest burster scene in town. Android ended up playing a part in it. No time travel. We didn't adhere to any of the Prometheus or Alien Covenant, Alien Resurrection. Lore.
Those are not a part of my Alien canon.
The Prometheus canon, no. No returning cast members, that's fine. Someone famous needs to be in this movie and then play on Western and horror tropes. Don't worry about the famous thing right now. But like the Western tropes, I think there's a lot of visual tropes that can be used here, as well as sort of how the characters interact with each other. But the horror tropes, I think that's where the fun comes in. This is a horror movie. Like, it's an action horror movie, but I would want to adhere more towards Alien than Aliens. We have a lot of shooting them up and guns flying in this thing, so maybe I'm wrong, and it's going to be more like Aliens.
It's going to feel. I think, and I liked the movie, so maybe I shouldn't say it this way. It's going to feel like Alien 3 with guns.
Okay, if that's how we have to sell it, that's the log line. So
No, that's not a good log line. People in general didn't like Alien 3.
Get David Fincher back. Let's give him a
He
second.
apparently hated. He didn't like his movie.
We'll give him another chance.
I can see all kinds of. I can see someone stepping out into the street as a xenomorph is tearing into someone there, and like you get a very quick duel thing where the shot is right before the quick draw, and the xenomorph looks up, and there's that moment, and then the quick draw. I don't know why our gunslinger felt they needed to wait before the xenomorph
moved.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't think of anyone particularly like that I'd want to cast in this. It's not something we have had much. Like, we don't do this very often.
Someone famous will be in this movie.
I think the droid would be the best face to put in the movie. But really, it could be anyone. Like, we could make I think if we make it any of the town folk, especially if we make it our woman character, then there's just be an assumption that that's the one that survived.
That's true, yeah.
So if our famous face is the droid, then there's an assumption that is, like, bad example, but if you go back and watch Doom now, you would think The Rock is the hero in it because it's the frickin' Rock.
You're supposed to.
You're supposed to think he's the good guy, right? He's the bad guy in the end.
And that's the twist in the movie, is the guy you thought was the hero turns into the bad guy.
And you fools always bet on Carl Urban to be the hero. So I think our famous face would be the droid, because then the assumption is like, oh, he's our hero. So then when it's not, cool. Like then, defied your expectations. Now I don't know who's going to survive here. That's my pitch for. I don't know anyone, but Idris Elba. No, he's already been in an Alien movie. We can't have him.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, okay. So there you go. I think that feels like a complete, at least a rough sketch of what we could do here.
Carl Urban.
Damn it, you're right. Carl Urban is our droid. Always bet on Carl.
Yep.
But what do you think? What do you think?
I liked it. I think there's a solid movie here. I think we don't fall into the pitfalls of the bad Alien movies.
Good. I hope not.
I think that the tone of Alien movies and the grittier westerns like Unforgiven actually do marry together pretty well.
Yeah, if you want to get more modern, like True Grit, the Coen Brothers True Grit movie has like it has a grit to it that Unforgiven had as well. Yeah, just like Unforgiven.
Bone Tomahawk.
Yes, 1,000%. Yes. So, well, Nancy, I want to know if we did this, if we've given you a movie that you would approve of here. Does the studio greenlight this? But that goes to the listeners as well. So I think we're going to wrap it up here. And that does it for this episode. We'd love to know if we did meet the demand. So agree, disagree, what did we leave out here? I hope the one of you who is screaming, "She finds gold," in the end is satisfied that I went there. But yeah, so reach out to us. You can message us directly at studiodemands.com or on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Studio Demands It. You can also now find us on TikTok, where, I mean, we'll toot our own horn here. We got some pretty funny videos up there, and you are missing out.
Toot toot.
Thank you, Jim. So go check out the Studio Demands It on TikTok as well. And
hashtag Xenomoose.
Xenomoose. If you like this episode, hashtag Xenomoose. Xenomoose. There you go. And if you feel like giving us a little review, you can do that in an app on the podcatcher of your choice, and that really helps us get the show out there. You can find me at TC's Big Head on Twitter, or if you'd like to tell Jim how great Alien Frontier is, you can let me know and I will tell him. And as I mentioned up top, we do now have a Patreon. For the amount of money you can find in your couch, you can get episodes early. You can get extended double-length episodes. So if you want to hear, like, we're going to do more here. I got another edition for us to talk about. If you want to hear what Jim and I are going to talk about after this, continuing this franchise conversation, you can head over to our Patreon and get those. We also have the commentary tracks, like we mentioned, and thank you for those of you who've already begun to patronize us. Thank you.
Revenant. It would look and feel a lot like Revenant.
Yeah, that's great. But thank you to 6.5 Media as well for everything they do for us. You can check out the other 6.5 shows if you head over to studiodemands.com. Scroll down to the bottom. There's a plethora of shows for you to choose from. But that does it for this episode. We'll be back again to take another one of your demands and challenge ourselves to improve the world of cinema. I am TC.
I'm Jim. I'm still thinking about this movie. Like I'm not even in this ending. I'm still thinking about this movie.
Well, as we exit out here, Jim, can you sing a few bars for us? I'll tee you up again.
I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm TC.
I wish I could see Alien Frontier. It's a good sounding movie to me.
Woo, woo. Hey, good job. All right, everybody. Well, you'll hear us next time.